Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about SA 501, which is the title is the audit evidence for special considerations for special items. So let's start. So the first thing is in SA 501 we are going to discuss in three topics like inventory verification, completeness and litigation on claims, and presentation and disclosure of the segment information. These three are the major topics involved in SA 501. In inventory verification, how we verify if the inventory is lying within the entity or lying with the third party. So let's start with the topic 1. In the topic 1, when the inventory is lying with the entity, so in this case the inventory is actually with the entity, so what the auditor has to do is he has to test the existence and condition of the inventory. So here actually there are majorly 4 cases, so which we are going to discuss. The first case 1. So in this case the physical count is done by the management on balance sheet date. So here it is doing on the balance sheet date only, and the auditor attended it. So in this case the auditor has to observe and evaluate the management position. He has to inspect the inventory, like he also has to go and check the inventory, and finally he has to perform the test counts, like he has to take some samples and he has to count it, and he has to reconcile with the actual inventory records. So with this the case 1 is completed. So the case 1 is if the physical count is done on balance sheet and the auditor attended it. In the second case, the physical count is done by management on balance sheet date only, but auditor did not attend it. So in that case what the auditor has to do is he has to observe the physical counts on alternate date. So here balance sheet date is completed, so now it's like alternate date, and he has to perform audit procedures on intervening transaction. So it's like the balance sheet date is this, and this is the alternate date. So whatever the transaction happens in this in between, he has to obtain audit evidence for this kind of transactions. So next case 3. See, in case 3 we have to see that physical count done by management on alternated. Here management is only doing an alternated and auditor is attending it. So what the auditor has to do is he has to perform alternate procedures. Why he has to perform alternate procedures? Because he has to obtain audit evidence. For what? He has to obtain the audit evidence for changes in inventory. So like this is the balance sheet date and this is the alternate date. This is alternate date, this is balance sheet date, and there are some changes in inventory happened during this period, and auditor has to perform some alternate procedures to obtain evidence that whatever the changes happening in this period or recorded properly or not, he has to obtain evidence. So this is case 3. And case 4 is auditor is unable to attend or practically impossible to attend. In that case he has to perform alternate procedures. He don't have any other option. If he is unable to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, then he has to modify the opinion. So with this we completed the topic 1. Next, topic 2. So now the second topic is the inventory is lying with the third party and it is material. So the inventory is with the third party and it is also a material. So in this case what the auditor can do is, see, first the auditor can request confirmation. So he can request confirmation from the third party that how much inventory he has and what is the quantity of it, etc, etc. Or the auditor can directly visit the third party premises and he can inspect directly that how much quantity is there. Or the third thing he can do, or he can inspect the documents, like the third party and the company in between there, if they have any agreements like that. Or he can arrange another auditor to attend the physical count and he can obtain another auditor report. So basically he can do the 4 things, like he can request confirmation, or he can inspect the documents, or he can arrange another auditor and he can obtain another auditor report. These are the main things he can do if the inventory is lying with the third party. So next we are going to discuss about the completeness of litigations and claims. So if the company has any litigations and claims, we have to as an auditor we have to verify that whether it is complete or not. So in this case there are actually 2 things can happen, that there are no risk of material misstatement in the completeness. So that time what we have to do, and in the next case it's like if the RMM exists, then what we have to do. So first case, if RMM does not exist, then what we have to do is, like, see, the auditor can inquire the management and others, like what is the legal fees, what are the things, basic inquiry he can do. And the second thing is he can review the minutes and legal expenses. Just review the minutes. The third thing he can do is like obtain representation from the management that everything was completely presented and appropriately presented it. So next is like, if there is a risk of material misstatement exists in completeness of litigations and claims, then what the auditor has to do is like the same thing, like first he has to inquire with management and others, and he has to review the minutes and legal expenses as usual, and then he also obtain a written representation by management. So these three things were common for both if RMM exists or does not exist. And the final thing is the auditor has to communicate with entity's legal counsel. So here the catch is auditor cannot directly ask the entity's external legal counsel. So what in this case there are many situations can arise. So what is in case if there is any law which prohibits the communication between auditor and external legal counsel, then he has to perform alternate audit procedures because you don't have any other option. Or otherwise, if law allows and auditor asks the management to send letter of inquiry to legal counsel and management refused, or if auditor asked management to send letter of inquiry and management sent but external counsel refused. So in the first case management refused and the second case external counsel refused. In these cases, then if sufficient and appropriate audit evidence if we did not obtain, then we have to modify opinion because we don't have any other option. And finally, the presentation and disclosure of the segment information, like actually how management usually follow this segment reporting is like segment wise or geography wise. So what as an auditor what he has to do is first he has to understand which method was using by the management, like they are going in segment wise or geography wise. And then second thing is whether that method is in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework, like whether in this company this segment wise is applicable or geography wise applicable, whether it is following the standards or not. And finally what we have to do is test the application of such method, like whether they see if company is following segment wise information, it's okay, but whether they are applying it properly or not, that we have to check. So first we have to understand whether the company is following which cases, which methods, and once we understand which method is followed, whether that method is appropriate in accordance with the standards or not. Once we are confirmed yes it is appropriate, then we have to test the application, like whether they are following it properly or not, whether they are calculating everything properly or not. And finally we have to perform analytical procedures and other audit procedures. So with this we completed the entire SA 501. If you like the video, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you.